What has Apple done to the iPad? I think they think this is perfect, just like this.
The Magic Mouse, getting the ergonomics well done and was key.
With Magic Mouse?
Yeah.
Okay.
Let me tell you, if you think that iPadOS is perfect just like the Magic Mouse, you should not watch this video. Now, I've told you guys many times that I honestly think that this is the best hardware in a device ever. This thing is peak hardware in my opinion. It is like a MacBook Air, just as thin, just as light, but you get the benefits of a tablet, which it is, but the benefits of a full MacBook-like system with an amazing keyboard with function keys, an amazing trackpad, the best ever in any hybrid device. You get the nice centered screen, rear cameras, you get that amazing Apple Pencil, and you get the best display ever in any device. And even though it is insanely thin, so lightweight that I could easily use it one-handed for hours, the software just doesn't match up. And I think that Apple is doing this on purpose, and I have proof. Because if we go back through the previous iPad OSs and we compare to what Apple just did at WWDC, I think that they have just killed off the iPad Pro with the M4 chip. So many of us were waiting for this day when Tim would get on top of that roof and show us what he meant when he released this iPad, and at the end of the iPad event said that you should wait for WWDC because they have so many amazing things happening, which he hasn't said before at an iPad release, hinting that there are going to be some major improvements to iPadOS. Well, I think we might have just got clickbait, and that's why so many people right now are returning their M4 iPads and sticking with their old ones, or just buying a refurbished or used one for a much cheaper price. So let's start out with iPadOS 15. What did we get if you guys don't remember? Well, that is when we got much better multitasking with split view. We got keyboard shortcuts. We got that amazing universal control between Mac and iPad. We got quick note. We got extensions in Safari, and we have tab groups as well. That was a pretty decent update for iPadOS. And then with iPadOS 16, they gave us resizable windows. They gave us Stage Manager, which wasn't perfect, but it was better. They gave us full external display support with up to 6K resolution. Files apps got better. They got a navigation button. We have sortable columns. We have file extensions that you can change. You have the open and save panel. That was a decent upgrade. And then with iPadOS 17, we got much more freedom with Stage Manager. You could shift and click on icons. You have interactive widgets, powerful PDF features, better search. We could attach external cameras. We have better AirPlay. Now, none of these were game-changing updates. People were still disappointed because they had M1 chips, they had M2 chips inside of their iPads, and the power in these were incredible. Obviously, we have Thunderbolt, right? We had the Magic Keyboard from before, but we still had limitations on the expensive iPads. So this year, with the M4 chip coming out on an iPad, not a Mac, the expectations were even higher, and with that, the prices going up, starting at $1,000 for a tablet, $1,300 for the larger size display, and of course the redesigned keyboards and everything they gave us. Well, we thought they would give us a great update, but what did we actually get? Well, there are only a few things that are dedicated to the iPad, and I think this might be the worst dedicated iPadOS update ever. Honestly, listen to this. We got the redesigned tab bar in apps, which is basically just minimizing the sidebar, making it float, going above your content a little bit, and then you can pin your most often used tabs there from the sidebar. And honestly, I'm not sure how I feel about it because, yeah, it's nice to have a couple shortcuts. It takes up some room on your screen, but if you want to access everything, you still have to open up that sidebar. And with that feature that is exclusive to iPadOS, we also had an updated document browser to look a little bit cleaner. And of course, we got the calculator app after 14 years or so. Now, I'll be honest, when we were watching this event, at first I'm like, oh, finally they brought it, but they surprised us because it could do way more than just a calculator. This is the biggest update in the best calculator app. There was actually a company that invested millions to develop their own AI calculator that shut down after that, so that is crazy. Being able to use the Apple Pencil to write out or draw out equations and have it just give you the answer and the ability to change things on the fly and get that is awesome. But the crazy thing is that your iPhone has the same calculator. You can even go in to math notes and draw stuff out or write stuff out and get the same result. So this is actually not an exclusive for the iPad. Now, I'm glad about it, but just shows that their focus was not just iPadOS like they showed that off. Now, if you think I'm gonna add more to this list, I am not, because that is it. The calculator is for both, and there's so little updates just to iPadOS that they even show off AirPod features in the iPadOS section of the Apple website because there's not enough. Now, they did release the Apple Intelligence, but of course, that's also not just for the iPad, it's iPhone, and then they just bring it over with iOS, which is basically what iPadOS is. So honestly, this is the smallest iPadOS update that we've gotten in years. And the things I mentioned earlier with the other versions, that was just a little highlight. This is literally the least dedicated features that they have given us. And honestly, this just makes me think, how is this possible for the most powerful device ever? This is the best device ever. This could be everything you need from a Mac and from an iPad all in one. But of course, they're not giving that to us. And honestly, I think this is intentional at this point, giving us proof that this will always be a tablet in just a tablet. Now, if you think I'm just complaining and this is how it's supposed to be and the features are enough, of course for some people it is enough and the features have been enough ever since the 2018 iPad Pro, but there are so many features that we really need in an iPad. And if you don't know about these, let me just give you guys a few of them. Now, obviously, macOS is not going to come to the iPad. They have proved it because if it would come, it would be coming with this one where they launched the most powerful chip on an iPad before any of their other devices. But what if they would give us just a little bit of a desktop experience? DeX has been around forever and it is so much more flexible. And now we have Qualcomm chips coming out in hybrid devices like from Asus. So we have one of those coming to us, which is gonna be very impressive. But fine, don't do macOS, but at least give us something a little bit better like you guys showed off in your own patents. And even if they didn't do that, how about Stage Manager improvements? How about giving us that tiling setup like they added to macOS, which I'm already using and enjoying? What about giving us better extended monitor support? What about giving us the ability to play multiple audio sources at once system-wide? So I would be able to listen to background music from YouTube while I'm editing videos, which I do all the time on my Mac, pretty much daily. Right now, if I'm playing something on YouTube and I go into Final Cut, it pauses that and I can't listen to both. So why not just give us that ability? Now, what about clamshell mode? So when you connect to an external monitor, you could just shut the iPad like you do with a Mac. There's a couple workarounds that don't work perfect. That's a little easy feature to add. What about an always-on display or a standby mode, since we have this OLED that can actually sip power with this new design? What about full screen support for screen mirroring at the proper resolutions of that display that you're connecting to? What about a better Files app? How about an eject button for drives so that we can finally get rid of corruptions that I sometimes get when I eject my external SSD and then I have to connect it to a Mac to fix it because you can. So with that, what about a disk utility feature so I can fix the drives on the iPad and format drives and SD cards? What about multiple user support? So you can log in and have multiple users have their own profiles like you can on a Mac. Of course they're not gonna do that because, well, then you don't have to buy multiple iPads for different people. They want you to do that. So, man, that is crazy. Now I know the calculator app probably took a lot of effort to make. 14 years of effort to make that calculator app. Obviously, I am joking. And I still love this device, but there is no way it is worth the money unless you're a very small minority of people that really need something specific to get this M4 iPad. Obviously, if you love watching videos with that OLED display, then, I mean, it's a very nice, expensive luxury device to be able to do that. So, I don't know, you guys let me know your thoughts. I feel like they just ruined this device just knowing that the future is not gonna be better. I know some people are saying, oh, we gotta wait till next year. It will be better next year. It's just the biggest disappointment. You know, seeing everything they've done at WWDC for the other devices and then seeing the iPadOS 18, which honestly, I don't think it should be even called iPadOS 18 at this point, other than the AI Apple Intelligence features that are hitting it, which are nice, but those are available on all the other devices. It's a bummer. So it's a great device, but even though the hardware had a huge leap this year, bigger than ever before, the software is the smallest leap that they have done. So let me know if you guys agree with me or if I'm completely wrong, if Apple did a great job with iPadOS 18 and justified this device. I wanna hear your thoughts. Now, we made a lot of videos. We have a lot more to come. Click that button above to subscribe. Check out one of those videos right over there. This has been Max, and I'll see you in the next one.